Hello everyone, welcome to Vote 2 Minute Warning. I am Jessica. Welcome back for week 7 of our time together on Vote 2 Minute Warning. We are officially now 10 weeks away from the election, and say it with me all, on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. I would guess at this point you might know that date better than your own birthday. So we are about just over 70 days away from the actual election, which means for all intents and purposes we're about 2 months out, which still gives us time to take action on the things that we need to, but we are quickly winding down. Last week we had the Democratic National Convention. This week is the Republican National Convention, so we are about to enter into the real meat and potatoes of the campaign. So expect to see all kinds of new information hit the airwaves as the nominees accept those nominations and we move forward towards the actual voting process. So, one of the things I want to always reiterate, keep thinking about your why. We talked about that very early on, but know your why, right? Remember the things that are important to you. Think about the things that keep you up at night and what you really want to focus on as you start to hear information about the candidates. Last week we talked about ways that you can utilize some technology that's out there. I showed you the rockthevote.org site that has some information about ways that you can actually go directly to the pages of the folks that are running in the elections in your state and take action. So do that. I always mention register to vote. If you have not registered to vote, what are you doing? Get on the registration docket. Take the time, take the 2 minutes to register, okay? And then at that point you can start making decisions. But if nothing else, get registered to vote. All right, it takes 2 minutes online. You can always message me if you're struggling and don't understand how to do it or you need some help finding the way to. I'd be happy to help, okay? So that's number one, register to vote. Locate, we always talk about locate is figuring out how you're going to vote. This week I'm going to focus on talking a little bit about making a voting plan, which sounds, I guess, counterintuitive, but in 2020 we've got to make a plan to go to the grocery store. So in this case we're going to talk about making a plan to vote. I think it's going to be a little bit of a different scenario regardless of if you're going to vote in person or you're going to vote early or you're going to vote via mail. This is a different animal we're dealing with because of COVID, as with everything else in 2020. So let's really focus on today talking about a plan. And as I mentioned, then on November 3rd, regardless if you've taken steps to do that earlier or November 3rd is your day, they're all going to be counted up on that day. And we're going to elect new officials, right? Remember, we talked about in the very early on, you are the hiring manager of this process. So let's get some folks in power that match your why. So I'm going to be joined today by a special guest. And we're going to talk about a plan with that special guest. So I'd like to kind of jump right to that part of the show. All right, as promised, I do have a special guest with me today. This is my good friend Carly, and Carly is part of an extremely important subsection of the population who are the about 20 million people that between the last presidential election and this one have gotten the right to vote. So that means either they've turned 18 or if they were looking for citizenship and got citizenship. It averages out to be about 5 million people that gain the right to vote each year. She's also part of an extremely coveted group of potential voters from 18 to 25 years old, which make up probably 50 million potential voters that could alter the fate of any election. So it becomes an extremely important group of folks. My good friend Carly here has agreed to sit down with me because she and I had a conversation not too long ago about whether or not she planned to vote. And so Carly, first and foremost, on the scale of 1 to super awkward, was it really awkward, the conversation we had, or?
Not an awkward conversation at all.
Which is great for me because I tend to make most things pretty awkward. So the good news there is that she and I had that conversation, and I encourage you all, if you've got folks in your life that maybe you want to have that conversation with, it's not so bad. It was a quick conversation. Now, Carly's situation is a little bit more complicated, which flows into what I want to talk about today, which is creating a voting plan. So Carly is going to be a sophomore at the University of Rhode Island this year, and she leaves next week to the sadness of all of us. But what that means is that on November 3rd, she's not going to be here in Pennsylvania to vote. So Carly had a decision to make on whether she wanted to vote here in Pennsylvania or in the calamari state of Rhode Island, and she chose
Pennsylvania.
So she's going to vote in Pennsylvania. Now, Carly did register to vote, I think, when she turned 18. So the first thing we need to do is to verify that Carly's registration was still valid. So I asked Carly to go out to rockthevote.org.
Yep.
There was a very easy button on there. I think it said, "Are you registered to vote?" Or check your registration.
It said, "Are you registered to vote?" We click it, and you give it super easy steps. Give
Right.
your name,
Yeah.
your address,
And your birthday,
and
right?
your birthday,
Right.
and then it tells you right away if you're registered or not.
Right, so Carly got the same sort of notification that I got last week, which says, "Hey, you're awesome and you're registered," which
It's the best feeling.
it's the best
It's the
feeling.
best
You're ready to
feeling.
rock and roll. So the other thing that now needs to happen is because Carly won't be here in Pennsylvania on November 3rd. A little bit sadness. Carly needs to take advantage of absentee voting. So in Pennsylvania, I think I've mentioned before that mail-in voting is available to anybody that wants to take advantage of it because of the pandemic. So Carly received the mail-in application that came in to her house already, right? So the concept is pretty easy. On this application, there is information about her name, first, middle, last, her birth date, her address. There's also identification requirements on here. So PA driver's license and the last four of your social. So there is information so they can validate your existence, validate your information and all that good stuff, so that when they send the ballot back, it's coming to a person that is eligible to receive it. So what we're going to do special today is we are going to do this in real time. So we're going to put this application in the mail today, and then we're going to chart when the ballot comes back to us in real time. So probably it's not going to actually get picked up by USPS until Tuesday, so tomorrow. But we're going to see how long it actually takes. Now, I advise you not to wait on us, okay? If you're choosing to do mail-in ballot, please take advantage of trying to get that going as quickly as possible. But I do want to do this as kind of a test to see how long it actually takes. So Carly's going to get the opportunity to vote on November 3rd, even though she will be eating calamari in Rhode Island. And I advise all of you to do the same. So thank you, Carly.
Course.
And I want to thank everybody that's given me information that you guys have registered. I've had those conversations with several of you. I've seen your posts online. It gives me life. It makes me feel like Mario eating a mushroom in Super Mario Brothers. I am excited every time I see it. So keep it up. I can't wait. We are just over 2 months away. So please get registered and make your plan to vote.
It's the best. It's great.